Have you ever watched someone in their late 80 seconds or 90 seconds walk into a room with a steady step, sit down without a struggle, laugh with everyone else, and quietly thought, what did they do right that I didn't? Maybe you notice it in small ways. One neighbor in his late 70 seconds still brings in his own groceries, bends down to pick up things he drops, and can get up from a chair without pushing on the armrests. Another, only a few years older or younger, needs help with almost everything, struggles to stand, shuffles their feet, and seems to get weaker every month. Same age on paper, completely different realities. After 75, it can feel like your future is already decided. You might think, well, my joints hurt, my doctor says I have this and that, my parents didn't live very long, it's just luck now. But older doctors and researchers who spend their lives watching people age will quietly tell you something important. There are certain simple things your body can still do after 75 that act like little checkpoints of resilience. They do not guarantee you will reach 100. Nothing can. But they are strong clues that your heart, brain, muscles, and balance still have more life in them than you might think. The strange part is, most of these tests do not involve fancy machines. They are not complicated. They are everyday things, the kind of movements and tasks most people take for granted until they suddenly cannot do them anymore. Being able to do them, even slowly or with a bit of effort, is like your body's way of saying, I still have reserve in the tank. Losing them altogether is often a sign that aging is speeding up on the inside. Maybe your body has been giving you mixed messages. You can still walk to the mailbox, but stairs wear you out. You can still get off the toilet, but getting up from a low couch is a battle. You can carry a light bag of groceries, but anything heavier makes you nervous. You might wonder, am I doing better than I think, or worse than I realize? If you are 75 or older, or you love someone who is, you might already be asking yourself questions like, how do I know if I still have a decent chance of living into my late 80 seconds or 90 seconds with some independence? Are there simple things I can test at home that tell me more than a birthday number? Is it too late to improve anything? Or does it still make a difference if I work on my strength and balance now? Those questions do not make you obsessive. They make you wise. They mean you are not only counting years, you are thinking about what those years will actually feel like. You know that living to 90 or 100, but being completely dependent on others, is very different from living to 90 or 100 with enough strength to dress yourself, move around your home, and enjoy the people you love. This video is not here to promise that if you do 5 things, you will definitely hit 100. Bodies are more complicated than that, and life is never fully under our control. What we are going to do is talk about 5 simple abilities that many long-lived, more independent older adults still have after 75. 5 things that give you a better chance of reaching very old age with dignity and function, not just breath in your lungs. These are not tricks or extreme exercises. They are basic abilities you can try today, in your own home, with someone nearby for safety if you need it. Things like being able to get up from a chair using mostly your legs, walking a short distance at a reasonable pace, maintaining your balance for a few seconds without clinging to something, carrying a light object without feeling like you will topple over, and a mental quickness test that shows your brain is still connecting the dots. None of them require you to be athletic. All of them are quietly powerful. We will talk about what each simple thing actually shows us about your body, how it relates to strength, heart health, balance, brain function, and overall resilience, what it might mean if you can still do it with ease, and what it might mean if you cannot do it yet. Just as important, we will talk about how these are not fixed traits. In many cases, you can improve them with small, regular effort, even in your late 70 seconds and 80 seconds. And by doing so, you may gently tilt the odds in favor of a longer, more independent life. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer picture of where you stand right now, not in a shaming way, but in a practical, hopeful way. You will be able to say, I can still do this, this and this, and I struggle with that and that. So here is where I might focus my energy if I want to give myself the best chance of reaching 90 or even 100 on my feet instead of only in a bed. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the fifth simple thing we will talk about is one that many people never think of as a longevity test at all. Yet older doctors quietly pay very close attention to it because it often predicts who will stay sharp and capable into their late 80 seconds and 90 seconds. Understanding that one ability and how to protect it could be just as important as any pill you take. Now, let us get started. Number 1. Getting up from a standard chair using mostly your legs, not your hands. This sounds almost too simple, but it is one of the most powerful home tests of longevity and independence. After 75, your leg strength is like your personal engine. It is what gets you out of bed, off the toilet, up the stairs, into the car. When that engine is weak, everything gets harder, and your risk of falls and fractures quietly climbs. Here is a simple way to see where you are. Pick a sturdy chair without wheels. Ideally, one that is about knee height and not too low. Sit all the way back, cross your arms lightly over your chest, or hold them out in front of you, and see if you can stand up without grabbing the armrests, the table, or your legs. You do not have to explode up like an athlete. You just want to see, can your legs do most of the work? If you can stand up and sit back down like this 5 times in a row, at your own pace, without feeling like you will fall, that is a very good sign that your legs still have meaningful strength. If you cannot do it without pushing hard on the armrests, or you can only manage it once or twice with great effort, that is not something to be ashamed of. It is simply your body saying, I need help here. The hopeful part is that leg strength is one of the most trainable things, even after 75. Gentle sit to stands from a higher chair, holding on as needed and repeating a few times a day, can slowly rebuild that power. Many very old adults who practice this regularly find they move more easily, trust their legs more, and feel less like a prisoner in their own chair. Number 2, walking a short distance at a steady, not painfully slow pace. Your walking speed is not just about keeping up. Older doctors sometimes call it the 6th vital sign because it reflects so many systems at once: your heart and lungs, your muscles, your balance, your nerves, even your confidence. After 75, being able to walk a short distance at a comfortable but steady pace, without stopping every few steps, is linked to a better chance of living longer and staying independent. You do not need a track. You can use a hallway, a driveway, or the distance from one end of your home to the other. The idea is simple. From a standing start, walk about the length of a typical room or two, or down the hallway and back, at the pace you would use if you were crossing a street and did not want the light to change on you. You do not need to rush. You just do not want to creep along painfully slowly, unless you absolutely must. If you use a cane or walker, that is fine. Use it the way you normally would. If you can walk that short stretch with a smooth, continuous step, without having to stop and gasp for air or grab furniture every few seconds, your body is telling you, we still have some reserve. If you find that you are shuffling, very unsteady, or totally wiped out by such a short walk, that is a sign that your engine is running close to empty. The good news is that even tiny, regular walks, indoors or out, can help. A few extra trips up and down the hallway or to the mailbox and back each day can slowly nudge your walking speed and endurance in the right direction. Number 3, standing on one leg for a few seconds while holding on lightly, not clinging. Balance is one of the quiet keys to reaching older ages without devastating injuries. Many people do not realize that a long life can be cut short very quickly by a serious fall, a broken hip, or a head injury. Being able to keep yourself upright when the world is not perfectly flat or predictable is more important for survival than many blood test numbers. Here is a gentle balance check. Stand near a counter or the back of a sturdy chair. Place your fingertips lightly on it. Then see if you can lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground and hold that for a few seconds. The goal is not to stand like a dancer with your leg high in the air. The goal is to see, can you keep your weight on one leg briefly without your body panicking and grabbing hard for support? Then try the other side. If you can manage 3 to 5 seconds on each leg with only light fingertip support, even if you wobble a bit, that is a good sign that your inner balance system is still working. If you cannot lift one foot at all without feeling like you will topple, that is powerful information. It means that working on balance, even in tiny ways, could be one of the most protective things you do for yourself. Heel to toe, walking along a counter, practicing that gentle one-leg stand with support, and doing simple exercises given by a doctor or therapist can all help. Balance, like strength, can improve with practice, even in your late 70 seconds and 80 seconds. If you are still listening, comment the number 2 below so we know you are here. And if these calm, practical, senior wisdom talks are helpful, consider subscribing so we can keep creating them for you and your family. Now, let us move forward. Number 4. Carrying a light load safely, like a bag of groceries or a basket of laundry. Real life does not just ask you to stand and walk, it asks you to carry things. Groceries from the car, plates to the table, laundry from one room to another. After 75, your ability to carry a modest weight while staying balanced is a strong clue to how much reserve your body has. Not because you need to be a weightlifter, but because lifting and carrying use your grip, your arms, your core, and your legs all at once. A simple test might be this: can you carry a light grocery bag, maybe 3 to 5 pounds, from the kitchen to the table without feeling like you will drop it or fall? Can you lift a small laundry basket from one spot to another? Do you feel relatively stable doing these everyday things, or do you feel like your body is right at the edge of what it can handle? If you can carry a light load with care and good posture, that suggests your strength and coordination are still working together. If even a small load feels overwhelming, you may be living at the edge of your capacity, where one small extra demand a heavier object. An uneven step could lead to a fall. Here too, small changes help. Practicing lifting lighter objects with good form, using both hands, keeping the item close to your body, and gradually increasing weight under supervision can build a bit more capacity. And knowing your limits lets you ask for help with heavier tasks before they push you into danger. Number 5. Thinking and reacting clearly enough to manage simple daily decisions. We often talk about longevity in terms of the body, but living to 90 or 100 inches a meaningful way also depends heavily on your mind. Doctors pay close attention not just to whether you are forgetful, but to whether you can still follow a short set of directions, make basic decisions, and adapt when something small changes. That kind of mental flexibility is a strong sign that your brain still has healthy networks working behind the scenes. You do not need a formal test at home, but you can notice things like this. If someone gives you 2 or 3 simple steps, for example, after breakfast, take your pills, then write down your weight, can you remember, and carry them out? When something unexpected happens, like a power outage or a late appointment, can you adjust your plan without completely freezing or panicking? Can you keep track of a simple conversation, answer questions, and express what you want without getting lost in the middle? If you are still sharp in these everyday ways, even if you occasionally misplace your keys or forget a name, that is a hopeful sign for your later years. It means your brain is still coordinating, planning, and responding, all of which are crucial for staying safe and independent as your body ages. If you notice that you are often confused, losing track of what you are doing, or struggling to follow even simple instructions, that does not mean there is no hope. It does mean it is important to talk with a doctor, check hearing, vision, medications, mood and memory, and see if there are ways to protect and support your brain now, When you look at these 5 simple things together, getting up from a chair with your legs, walking a short distance at a steady pace, standing briefly on one leg with support, carrying a light load safely, and thinking clearly enough to handle daily tasks, you start to see a picture. They are not tests of perfection. They are like small windows into how much reserve you still have. Being able to do them does not guarantee you will reach 100, but it does suggest your body and mind still have meaningful strength to build on. Struggling with them is not a verdict either. It is a clear signpost pointing to where a little focused effort could make the biggest difference for your future. Final thoughts. We have just taken a calm look at 5 simple things your body and mind can still do after 75 that quietly point toward a better chance of living longer with independence. Standing up from a chair, using mostly your legs, walking a short distance at a steady pace, balancing briefly on one leg, with support, carrying a light load safely, and thinking clearly enough to manage simple daily decisions. None of these are Olympic events. They do not care what year you were born, how much money you have, or whether you ever set foot in a gym. They are everyday abilities, things you do at the kitchen table, in the hallway, in the grocery store, and in your own living room. That is exactly why older doctors pay so much attention to them. When these simple abilities are still there after 75, it is a strong sign that your heart, muscles, nerves, balance, and brain still have meaningful reserve. When they are slipping, it is often an early warning that aging is speeding up and that now is the time to act, not to give up. If you tried a few of these in your mind while listening, you might have noticed mixed feelings. Maybe you thought, I can still stand up from a chair just fine, and felt a wave of relief. Maybe you realized, I cannot balance on one leg at all anymore, and felt a sting of fear. Both reactions are normal. The point of these 5 tests is not to hand you a pass or fail grade. The point is to give you a clearer picture of where you are strong and where you are more vulnerable, so you know where to gently focus your energy. Ask yourself, almost like you were talking to a close friend, which of these 5 can I still do fairly well, even if I am a bit slow, and which ones are hard or impossible right now? Maybe you stand up easily but get tired walking across the room. Maybe you can walk fine but struggle to carry even a light bag. Maybe your body is doing better than you thought, but your thinking feels foggier. Or maybe your mind is sharp but your legs are not cooperating. Wherever you are, that is your starting point, not something to be ashamed of, just information. Here is the hopeful part many people never hear clearly. Even in your late 70 seconds and 80 seconds, these abilities are not completely fixed. Strength can improve with gentle, consistent practice. Balance can improve with safe exercises and a bit of patience. Walking endurance can grow with a few extra trips up and down the hallway. Even your thinking can be supported by better sleep, hearing checks, clearer medication plans, social connection, and mental activity. You may not turn back time, but you can absolutely change the slope of the curve, slowing down how fast you lose what you still have. You do not need a complicated program. You need one small, realistic step. Maybe that step is deciding, every day, I will practice standing up from my chair, using my legs 3 times in a row. Or, I will walk to the end of the driveway and back once more than I usually do. Or, I will stand at the counter and lift 1 foot an inch off the ground for a few seconds while holding on. Or, I will ask my doctor to review my medications and my memory concerns instead of quietly worrying. What matters is not how big the step is. What matters is that you take it most days, not just on days when you feel motivated. It can help to bring someone into this with you. If you have family or friends, you might say, I learned that being able to get up from a chair, walk a bit, balance, carry light things, and think clearly are all signs that I might live longer and better. I want to work on 1 or 2 of these. Would you remind me, or even do them with me? If you live alone, you might write your chosen habit on a sticky note and put it near your chair, your bathroom mirror, or your refrigerator. Stand, walk, balance, think, as a small daily reminder that your body and mind are still worth taking care of. Also, remember this: struggling with one of these tests does not mean you are doomed, and doing well on all of them does not mean you can ignore your health. These abilities are not a fortune teller. They are a flashlight. They shine a light on the parts of you that are still strong and the parts that need attention. The real power is in how you respond to what you see, whether you use that light to say, "Well, that's it, I'm done," or to say, "I see where I need help and I'm not too old to work on it." So ask yourself one gentle question as we close. If I want to give myself the best chance of reaching 85, 90, or even 100 on my feet instead of only in a bed, which of these 5 abilities will I protect or improve first? There is no wrong answer. Maybe it is your leg strength. Maybe your walking. Maybe your balance. Maybe your ability to carry things safely. Maybe your thinking and decision-making. Choose one. Write it down. Talk to your doctor or a physical therapist if you can. And then, start small today, not someday. In the comments below, if you feel comfortable, share how many of the 5 you feel you can still do fairly well, and which one you most want to work on. Your honesty might be the exact encouragement another senior needs to get out of their chair and try, instead of quietly assuming it is too late. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or family member over 75 who thinks their future is already set in stone. Your support helps us keep creating calm, practical, senior wisdom, so older adults can face aging with information, hope, and small daily actions, not just fear and guesswork. Thank you for watching. Remember, longevity is not only about how many years you live, but about how much of you is still present in those years. Every time you practice standing, walking, balancing, carrying, and thinking with care, you are quietly casting a vote for a future where you are not just alive longer, but living more fully.